Hello there and welcome. I'm Reverend Yin, founder of Evolving Enneagram and the author of The Enneagram of the Soul, a 40-day spiritual companion for the 9 types. If you've been seeking a compassion-based, contemplative approach to Enneagram-informed transformation, you are in the right place. This is where contemplation meets the Enneagram. We are in week 5 now of a 12-week Sunday talk series based on the theme 9 Points of Light. We've been exploring the 9 essence qualities around the circle of the Enneagram. We started with the body types, and today we move into the heart center of the Enneagram, and that's points 2, 3, and 4. And we'll begin this week with point 2 with a focus on the essence quality at 2. And the title of today's talk is Enneagram 2, Cherishing Love and Connection. So today's talk will come in 3 parts because it is our launch date for the Heart Center. Part 1 will be focused on just giving a little overview of the themes of the Heart Center of the Enneagram. In part 2, we'll explore the essence quality of what's sometimes called merging love. I'm calling it love and connection here, vis-a-vis point 2 on the Enneagram, and also what it looks like when the type 2 attempts to mimic this foundational core quality that is it's like home base, right? And then in part 3, I'll guide you through a contemplative journey of cherishing what I call genuine love and connection. And this is for all types, irrespective of your home base, if you will. So with that, let us begin. Okay, part 1. The heart center. I'm in the heart center of the Enneagram. So the heart center includes points 2, 3, and 4. And like the psychological patterns among the heart types here have to do with challenges and gifts around the heart, right? And the heart is where we feel a sense of our like personal identity, our sense of value, our sense of connection and like relatedness. And so the full like felt and lived sense of all of these things, right? Not just the idea of connection, but the like the lived experience of it. And the 2, 3, 4 on the Enneagram, they represent issues that unite us. If you think about it, connection, right? It's connection to ourselves, to the divine, to one another. So it's relational, right? This energy, and so related to that, this center represents our ego's need for attention, recognition, appreciation. And to be clear, because some of you, you imagine you have more or less of a conscious need for these things, but just to recognize and honor that these are non-negotiable needs for human beings, right? That all of us actually need it. How we prioritize this as a need, varies. But even, for example, just to since we've just finished the body types, a type 8, might not connect as much with some of the heart types. Oh my gosh, they need so much appreciation or attention or whatever it is. But really, an 8 does need validation, right? Because it's a human need. But the difference is being a body type, which is more focused on prioritizing what? Autonomy, control, power, these things, right? That they may be less inclined to sacrifice those other needs and think those are more important, right? But if you can look at how important autonomy, power, and those things are to the body center, which we just explored. Just consider and apply that to the heart center and go, oh, wow, well, I wouldn't give up my autonomy. And so, but I might expect 2, 3s, and 4s, like just give up the need for affirmation, right? So let's kind of look at this in a more equal way here. And all of us as kids, it's like for our own development, we need mirroring, just like we need autonomy for our development. So I really, again, want to emphasize this so that we're normalizing all of it and allowing this to be part of our humanity and not like something that's wrong with us because we need these things. At the same time, just like we saw in the body center, the overvaluing or overemphasis or the compulsive need for certain things like power, you know, autonomy, and such is actually can create situations where we're acting very unskillfully in the grab for power or or freedom, whatever it is, right? In this case, the grab for appreciation, like the two's insistence of like appreciate me, right? Or a three's, grabbing for attention in a way that doesn't make space for other people, right? So just as examples to I will give, I might as well complete it and say, for the fours, grabbing of like a sense of stylized like identity, like in a way that is compulsive, right? Like it's like this is who I am, and I insist that you see me as I am, right? That all these things can be when taken to an extreme, when they're out of balance, can be harmful to us. So it's not that they are intrinsically bad. In fact, for all of us at these points, what like the gift of this heart center offers us is that we know the nature of like our personhood through it, right? That we recognize that while we are part of a larger oneness and unity, we are also unique expressions of that. And and at point two, we really see the possibility for the high side of experiencing like love and connection and that relatedness. And the high side of three, we experience meaning, value, like purpose. And at point four, we experience who we are in our depths. And so, really seeing how that is true for all of us, and each of these types on the Enneagram, these numbers really like embody that journey in their own lives, right? So that if you are a two, that's like a primary journey, love and connection. If you are a three, this is the primary journey, meaning, value, purpose. And if you are a type four, this is primary in your journey, who you are in your depths, right? But this is applicable to all of us. And I love that in one of Russ Hudson's like recent teachings, he might have taught this in many places, but he really emphasized how the need for attention is not narcissism. I mean, we've really overused the word in our modern day. We've discovered it, and I mean, of course, things like that are helpful in psychology, but the need for attention is not in itself narcissistic or pathological. So that's important. Um, Again, drawing an analogy to the body types, the need for power, control, autonomy is not pathological, but could be, right? Not in and of itself, though. So when I opened this series, I talked about like the body types need to cultivate stillness. I mean, that's true for all of us, but it's a special invitation for those who identify as body types for them to apply this in these 12 weeks that we are journeying together. So there's a special invitation here for heart types to cultivate intentional solitude. And that solitude beginning with like external solitude, meaning there's a space where we just take time to be alone, to not be in relationship to another living being. And I mean, I really mean that. I think there's something even with pets that it takes our attention out of ourselves, and we don't ever give a chance to like really be with our hearts in a different way. And that invitation to solitude that is especially for heart types, I'll share how hard it has been for me in my journey, that in the beginning of my journey of awakening, I mean, this is like 2004 approximately, when, I mean, I actually couldn't physically be alone. I mean, I really like like I didn't understand it in the context of understanding now and knowing that I'm a heart type, but not only not like if I was alone, it's like I would need this constant mirroring by my partner. And I am sexual dominant, so it's like even more so than like by society or by the world. It's like constant day long affirmation on texting or calling or emailing or whatever it is, and I didn't realize back then. I just thought that was normal, and I realized that I needed a lot of inner healing and this inner journey of contemplation and awakening to like my own self-worth and self-love was the beginning of really understanding how there's a ground in my heart, a ground of being in my own heart where I don't have to reach out as much for that. Like, tell me who I am, tell me that I'm okay. And so I just have a lot of uh, tenderness for that struggle and a lot of intimacy with that struggle in my own life. So I just want to send that love out for any of you who might be feeling that way, or maybe just to describe that for those of you who are like, I've never been like that. Maybe you have your own version of that that you can apply. So just kind of considering that, or maybe it's like this kind of, I know most of my life I felt very lonely, and I didn't realize it was because I I had disconnected from my own heart. And so I really want to talk about how there's some truthiness in each of our own hearts that all of the heart types kind of have abandoned or left in some way, right? As we go outside ourselves to try to get that knowing of who we are from someone else, right? So, so yeah, back then, attention from a special somebody was, it really felt like a lifeline. And so I'm curious to know who among you connects with that, or maybe has a new understanding of that now, or appreciation for what that might have been like for someone else who has that, whereas you didn't feel that yourself. So Christopher Heuritz in the Sacred Enneagram wrote, by dialing down compulsions for connection and comparison, we're talking about outer connection here, by dialing down compulsions for connection and comparison, inner solitude enables heart people to face themselves in relationship to God. It allows for a deep experience of being loved, thereby helping heart people find their inner source of love for the world. Hmm. So again, that word God, please feel free to replace it with whatever word resonates most with you. With that, let's move into part two. So John Lukovich defines the essence of point two as, first he calls it love, but he's love, the quality of presence that is a recognition that everything is cherished and cared for. Take a moment to consider how you relate to that and what words stand out for you. So, interestingly enough, regarding that idea of like everything, like people who are type twos want to include themselves in that being cherished. But the reality is, even like the personality of two does not include everyone. Type twos are very selective in their caring. Like they tend to really focus on specific somebodies and like really trying to meet the needs of those they've identified as special to them, right? And then related to this love I'm talking about, because I use the term love in relationship with nine as well. And so I hope that you can even hear in the term cherishing, it's like a different kind of quality. It is more of like a heart quality. Whereas I feel like the love I was talking about, the harmonizing love of the nine, like there's something about, it's almost like gravity, right? We talked about like the physicality of that, and of things mattering, like having significance and impact. And here, this heart quality is much more like a melting kind of quality, a softness, a buttery, liquidy Yeah, like a melting love. Hamid Ali, in his book Keys to the Enneagram, wrote twos tend to idealize and desire not just any form of love, but one specific kind of love, the love that embodies the principle of connection, of feeling intimately connected through increasing degrees of intimacy, all the way to total merging and oneness. He adds, love is frequently disarming, but here it is more than disarming. It is also melting. We can feel as if our heart is melting into love. You know how much I emphasize community and the power of it. Some of you might have experienced already in some of our classes or groups this experience that he describes. A whole group can feel merging love together, which happens in some of our teaching groups when everybody perceives themselves part of the sweet pool, or that the room is raining sweet golden love. There's no sense of wanting or possessiveness in it. Instead, the sense is of letting go or surrendering our heart. However, the most important feeling in this state is of presence, of a medium or expanse with its own weight and substance, a substance that is the fullness of existing, the fullness of being, and of being present here and now. Type twos, no matter how much they try to connect with others, their significant others in the world, the type structure disconnects from its own heart where needs lie, right? In order to do so. So, guess what? It doesn't matter if the other person relates and connects back, right? Because your heart is not there, right? So the actual like deepening of relatedness, that sharing of connection can't actually happen. And so that's why twos continue and continue their journey, and it never fulfills itself, right? It's like you don't get that connection that you belong. Even if they don't abandon you, you're still missing the sense of like genuine connection. And so the idea is that it's because you're not fully there with your heart. Because to be there with your heart means you need to be there with your negative feelings as well as your positive feelings. It means you need to be there with your needs, wants, desires, goals, quests, all of that. And for most twos, that's like, no way, no way, right? It's not okay to have needs. It's not okay to have my personal desires. In fact, it's selfish to do so. And so by quashing all of that, you're actually sabotaging the very thing you seek. So this is where we see some of the more challenging qualities that emerge at point two, which is like this pride in their goodness, pride in their service, a kind of false humility. It's a humility that draws attention to itself, draws attention to their own holiness, right? And again, let's, hold this with compassion. If you are not allowed to have your own needs or feel your own neediness, pride and also manipulation of others is the way you're going to get your legitimate needs met, right? So this is where some of us who are not twos can really struggle with two energy and really see the need for people in general for love and connection. We can go to an extreme. Remember, when we're talking about the eight energy, it's really important to draw these analogies. We're talking about the eight energy, and there are people who disown their own power or their desire for power, which is so needed in the world because they see unhealthy aspects of the eight energy being expressed, right? Through power over. So there are people who can also, like, oh my God, reacting to the twos in their lives and this sense of unconscious, like, neediness. And they're like, I'm going to be anything but that, right? You could possibly have an overreaction to that energy in the world. And so just recognize how you might make it bad or wrong or weak or something. And in that, you're actually denying some of your need, your basic human fundamental need for relationality, for love and connection, which is really the gift that comes out, that this human and divine gift that comes out at the point of two, right? In my book, The Enneagram of the Soul, on pages 18 through 19, I talk about what happens when twos begin to wake up. And so this can also give us an analogy for what it might look like as the part of us that resonates with two-ness wakes up. As twos begin to wake up, they experience true humility, an awareness that allows them to acknowledge that they, like all humans, have important needs and desires. Additionally, soulful twos recognize that they themselves need help, and out of newfound love for themselves, they are willing to risk the pain of rejection to ask for it. Centered in wholeness, maturing twos recognize that there is only one universal will unfolding for the good of all. This enables them to become unconditionally giving, humble about their genuine place in other people's lives, more receptive to experiencing the sincerity of others' love, and more heartfully focused on their own joy, spontaneity, and nurturing. More conscious twos learn to enjoy solitude and often their own creative pursuits. They recognize that sometimes the greatest gift they can give others is the gift of their own being and receiving. The deep lesson, everyone, that is found at point two, that I believe is just vital to all of us, is the lesson that we cannot disconnect from ourselves, from our own hearts in particular, and then somehow find a genuine sense of love and connection in the world, right? That, and then conversely, by connecting with ourselves and our own hearts, we also then connect with the divine, with our own sense of wholeness, oneness, and we are able to share in relationality and loving connection with others. So, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you, type 8, offer tenderness to the parts of you that feel weak, rejected, or powerless. Type 9, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you offer devotion to the parts of you that feel unimportant. For type 1, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you offer forgiveness to where you feel you've fallen short. Cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you, type 2, offer honor and care toward your own sense of neediness. Really, normally that's a source of humiliation and shame for the two. So offering honor and care are healing salves. And then type 3, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you offer respect and dignity to your own feelings and to respect being, to offer dignity to your feelings. For type 4, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you offer yourself more permission for natural spontaneity and joy. You might begin to notice as you walk this contemplative path that really the type structure really overvalues suffering and really censors like spontaneity in a way that it's like if it doesn't fit, like be cool, right? And then this natural effusion of joy that is within you. Cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you, type 5, offer your feelings as much space as your thoughts. And I know that's a high order. So how about just like your feelings a little bit more space than they previously had? So the proportion is a little bit more equal. You can start there. Cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you, type 6, offer patience to yourself in all your deliberations. And finally, cherishing love and connection may mean that to start, you, type 7, offer gentle cradling around your own fears. Ah. So let's take a moment to find our breath. And let's take a journey together inward. So I invite you to close your eyes and drop into your belly center, focusing your breath as if you're breathing right through that belly center. Locating the dantian, the lower dantian, 3 fingers below your belly button and a few fingers inward. Just breathing as if you're breathing right through that area. Take your time here. And so now I invite you to simply be aware, bring presence to that belly center, not needing to do anything, change anything, analyze anything. Just notice how, as you're simply present there might be some room for your heart to come online. And so bringing some presence here, maybe dividing it 50-50 from your belly and your heart. You might notice some tenderness, softness, gentleness, natural qualities of the heart opening up. Simply with this grounded presence that you're bringing. You know, the more that you're in your heart, the more you feel connection without even reaching out. In presence, particularly in the heart center, we're connected even to people we don't know. It's non-selective. And the intelligence, the natural intelligence of the heart is that of attunement, relational attunement. You naturally can tune into needs and respond to needs. And everything that is alive has needs. To grow requires having needs met. So for 2s, if you're a type 2, remember, why not you? How are you exempt from that? And so bringing presence now to the heart in a way that honors and cherishes the heart, cherishes what you value, what you want, what you need. Not what you should value or want or need, but what you actually do. And so notice that now. Give yourself a little bit of patience and time to be with the heart. You can even pause this video if you feel like, oh, I need to really spend some time here. And now, I invite you to specifically notice your chest, like the front of your heart. This is an area where it's like at the top of the diaphragm and the lower end of your sternum. And if you focus on this front part, you might experience it as an openness or like an openness of energy. Sometimes it's like it's pulling you out towards something. If you sense that, you might touch into what 2s generally feel. Open in the front, the heart energy just goes right out toward others. And so I'm going to invite you now to take your hands and rest them on your torso, crossing your arms across your body, like as a gesture of holding yourself. It's like you're keeping this energy for yourself, as if saying, this one is cherished, cared for. This one here is loved. Insert the word that you need to hear to feel that kind of cherished love and connection within yourself. And then let whatever quality of cherishing about the one inside you, that heart, let that quality arise and let it be there. Allow it to be there for you. And it's okay if it's a little bit difficult. For some of you, it might be easier than others. For some, there might be some shame that comes up, and see if that can be held as well, cared for, whatever arises. There might be some, just a little more gentleness or kindness available to you as well. And you can continue to keep your arms crossed or let them down, whichever is most comfortable for you as you move your awareness up into the head center. So a third is in the belly, a third is in the heart, a third is in the head center. And here at point 2, we sense how the head can discern what needs need to be met, right? What is actually necessary and what isn't. Because you know, in the unhealthy 2, they can just proactively help people when it's not needed or even wanted. But with presence in the head center, you can zero in on what's truly needed. So notice this. If you move to your head center and you somehow left the body, go back patiently and reconnect with the grounded sense in your belly, the cherishing of the heart, and then into the head for this discernment of what is needed, truly needed. And then give thanks to yourself for spending this time with your conscious awakening. Give thanks for this felt sense of you and how you orient to love and connection and the meeting of needs as you move out into the world. And you can keep your eyes closed or open them as I read this final quote and close with it from Brené Brown, The Gifts of Imperfection. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known, and when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, kindness, and affection. Love is not something we give or get. It is something that we nurture and grow, a connection that can only be cultivated between two people when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. Shame, blame, disrespect, betrayal, and the withholding of affection damage the roots from which love grows. Love can only survive these injuries if they are acknowledged, healed, and rare. So I offer this always only for your prayerful consideration, for you to discern which parts of this are true for you, for you. So namaste. I behold the love that you already are in truth. See you next week.